Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your two favourite killers down under, Ben and Daniel. And we are reviewing a film that was actually my most anticipated for the year, just purely because of who helms it. It is none other than The Killer, which is in cinemas as of tomorrow and should be coming to Netflix soon as they acquired the rights to it. But it is directed by David Fincher, who is one of my favourite working directors today, helmed at none other than Seven, Fight Club, Social Network.
A couple of good films within there. Yep.
Gone Girl. Most recently, Mank, which I probably wasn't the biggest fan of, which is a massive departure from, I guess, his normal style. You probably wouldn't have seen it. Also a Netflix film. But it is starring none other than Michael Fassbender, who, to kind of keep it, I guess, as spoiler-free as possible, he obviously plays an assassin who, after a mishap, basically is battling whatever is coming at him, essentially. Trying to clean up the mess. But it is actually based on a French graphic novel written by Alexis Noland. So I guess that kind of, you can kind of sense there's a little bit of graphic novel adaptation to the actual film style. But we'll get into that in terms of when we discuss it. But what were your overall thoughts on the film?
Overall thoughts on the film? I'm unsure.
That's a good start.
It kind of felt like a kind of like an autobiography being told. Now that you said graphic novel, it kind of actually puts a few more.
It makes a lot more sense.
It makes a lot more sense because I guess you get to hear kind of both points. But for me, this felt like a autobiography that he's like saying at the same time as, you know, experiencing all the events of the film. But it's kind of like the Wikipedia version. I felt like things were summarized more than they were expanded on.
I believe there's 5 novels, so I'm actually not sure. 5 graphic novels. I'm not sure whether this is based on all 5 combined or whether it's just the one.
Gotcha.
I'm not exactly too sure. I just know it was based on a graphic novel, but in terms of obviously the in-depth situation regarding the story. But
I was really unsure on the direction, and I guess I didn't know where it was going to go. I wasn't sure if it was going to be kind of like have some kind of emotional impact or if it was going to lead towards kind of like a nice action kind of film, which generally when a movie is, called The Killer and about a killer, it might lean towards some of those themes. But it kind of felt like it was like still an autobiography. Like things happened, but it was kind of like just for the point of him explaining a story more than anything else. I guess that's the way I interpreted that. I did think, is it David Fassbender? Is that he said?
Michael Fassbender. David's
I was looking straight at David Fincher.
David's who he plays in Prometheus, I'm pretty sure. The cyborg or the
I need help.
Yeah, you do.
I thought he was pretty great in his role, but he was really the only major standout, I guess, since he is the main key part of this film.
Well, he's probably the only character, like person in the film who gets more than 3 minutes screen time. It's about 2 hours long, and he's quite clearly front and center of the film because there's not really any supporting actors or anything like that in the film. Really,
I didn't mind the chick that's off Avengers. What's her name again?
Avengers.
Tilda
Swinton.
Yeah, she's off Avengers, isn't she?
She's off Doctor Strange.
Well, she's on the Avengers too.
No,
you knew what I meant.
I knew what you meant because I speak your stupidity.
For her 3.5 minutes on screen, I thought that she delivered her lines quite well, and probably had some key aspect on this film. But overall, the only person you can kind of really comment is old Michael himself. And look, I thought he did good, but I didn't feel like the overall story complemented, I guess, maybe it was what Michael was trying to deliver or the director really wanted out of this. And that might be because they did part 1 of 5 or they actually try to combine a way bigger story into a shorter one. So it's kind of like, I guess, you're going to either lose things either way there. But look, it was enjoyable and I was still pretty captivated. For me, it didn't feel like a couple of hours. I actually felt like it still was. It was paced very evenly. It didn't really increase or decrease in pace. One thing that, if it is a compliment to the film, and maybe it's a detriment for some, it did maintain its same and similar pacing throughout the whole film, which makes it really kind of easy to understand and
Easy to digest.
Yeah, really easy to digest. Like you're not trying to pay attention to a billion different things, or here's an emotional point, here's an action point, here's something else. Let's jump between scenes. It really did feel like it. Yeah, I think you've actually described that well. Easy to digest. It really easy to soak in and understand the universe and the story that's being told. But however, as I said, it didn't, the script itself didn't really or the story itself didn't really soak into it for me. I don't really have any kind of standouts when it comes to any of the audio design or the way it was kind of directed or shot. I feel like it was shot well, but it's not kind of like a standout. There's not a revolutionary first time, directed kind of style or scene or unique. It just felt like it was fitting, but wasn't like exceptional. But I don't know. I don't even know we don't do numbers here. We don't rate anything out of 10 or stars or dirty socks or whatever people say.
Because that'll always change.
Yeah, and I don't even know where I would rate this kind of film. But look, I'm going to throw it over to you because your thoughts sometimes help me soak
I've probably
in
got a
something
little
mine.
bit,
So
more to... I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a phenomenal film by any means like his other, Gone Girl, I absolutely adored. Social Network, these are, the top 3 films of the year for me kind of thing. I really enjoyed it. There were certain aspects that kind of fell a little bit flat to me, and that was probably more the actual ending and the story itself. But every other aspect I really, really ate up, to be honest. In touching on what's in front of the camera, I actually thought the film... It was very distinctive Fincher style. If you've seen his films, you know what it is. It's a very cold-looking film in the color palettes. It's a very neutrally blue tone, very yellowy neutral tone. And for some reason, it makes it look beautiful at the same time. There is some gorgeous cinematography. It is Eric Messerschmidt who did the cinematography for Mindhunter and Fargo, which, funnily enough, they actually look... The TV show Fargo, sorry. But funnily enough, they look very similar to that. But it is, in terms of the performance from Fassbender, I actually thought he was, seriously good in the film, especially for a role where a lot of it is pure facial expressions.
Yeah.
99% of his dialogue is all narration, which I actually really enjoyed. And that kind of was, the aspect of probably the graphic novel coming into play.
Yeah. And where I felt like
in the way there was, chapters but I thought he was really good and really performed well, showing someone who just lacks complete empathy and any moral compass. It was just the brutality behind his performance. If you've seen him in other films like X-Men and even 12 years, as fucked and brutal as 12 Years a Slave is, every performance he's kind of had, he's had this serious charisma, whereas this film, it was almost a complete departure of what he's normally doing, where you don't even necessarily hate him and you don't feel empathy towards him for his just due to his performance. He's seriously good at just playing this stone cold person that has no compass, no empathy, is just a fucked up killer. I agree with you in terms of the length of the film. I thought it was seriously easy to digest, and I got to give props to that for, first of all, Fincher. He's the best way I can describe his films are they are seriously tight. I feel like he has complete control over everything, whether that be cinematography or editing. All his films are edited in a similar way, and none of them are paced weirdly. But I got to give that props to Kirk Baxter, who's the editor, who is the common editor for his films. He's done Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, Social Network, even obviously Mindhunter, which Fincher did direct the first season of. Everything there, top notch. In terms of the craft, I actually really enjoyed that aspect. I know you said you probably weren't not necessarily a fan of it, but standout wise, I actually thought the sound design was one of the best parts of the film. And that really came into probably the fact that it actually is a graphic, there was so much weight to every sound, especially in the fighting scenes, even though they were very minimal. I actually really enjoyed the sound design. Even the aspects at the start of the film, and this isn't spoiling anything, where he is narrating and he chucks in his headphones and the sound kind of dilutes
Actually, I did like that.
dilutes out, and then it's the music and the narration comes in. Like the sound design is top notch, and I actually thought the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which is also a common collaborator with Fincher, who's obviously done Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, also Gone Girl, but recently the TMNT animated movie and Soul. So I'd loved the TMNT Mutant Mayhem.
I didn't really notice the score in this film. But
I noticed it. That's the thing about their score, though. Their score almost merges into the sound design. I actually think they have a degree in creating sounds that give me just fucking anxiety. Like no, like not even kidding. Like there's a one spit in this the movie where they kind of almost put in white noise and they put in this like weird thing. And I was like, are those speakers like fucking up, or is this just like the score? And then like this weird, like, you know how there's studies have shown that there is a sound that creates shit, like it makes a human shit themselves.
It's rumored the brown
It's rumored.
note.
It's rumored.
The brown note.
It's rumored.
South
But
Park.
I am fully under the thought that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have that sound of just creating pure panic and anxiety in my heart, because it makes me like, it honestly makes my heart kind of like, and it's the same. Like, I'm sure if you're watching this review and you've seen Fincher's other films, you'll probably feel the same. Like, there is scenes in Gone Girl and even Social Network, and Social Network's such a dialogue heavy film, one of the longest scripts of all time, and you're watching someone talk about fucking creating Facebook, and you're sitting there like biting your nails, almost shitting yourself just of pure anxiety. And I got to give that score. It just merged in perfectly with the sound design. But I like it just was like, I really enjoyed every aspect of the film. I think just the story aspect, it didn't what would have really elevated if it did allow me to, I guess, emotionally invest myself into the story. It was very much kind of, this has happened, now this is the series of events that's going to precede it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if I was allowed to, you know, empathize with the character and the situation they're going through, that's what they're going for. The Fassbender's going for the stone cold empath, and I think they're trying to, I guess, create this emotional feeling that's very contradictory of what you probably should feel. And but no, like, by no means is it Fincher's best film. I just thought it was a really, 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 really good film. Not standout, no, not fantastic. I do recommend that if you can, go see it in theaters before it does jump on Netflix, because I do think, just in terms of the sound design, the way the film's shot, and the like.
Yeah, it's not one you'd want to watch on TV. It's one you want to watch at least with a full audio system if you're gonna.
If I did watch it on TV, I actually think I would have enjoyed it less.
Definitely.
Because it's very much a film that deserves to be seen in a cinema for purely that sound and that design, like the sound design, the editing. It's seriously good. But I mean, whether they make another one or not, I'm not too sure, because I don't, obviously, as I said, I don't know if they're basing it off the full 5 series of the comic graphic novel, or whether it's just the one that they're covering. But no, I do think it's a good film. I definitely recommend people seeing it. And other than that, there's probably not too much I can really further touch on, unless you've got anything that you want to.
No, nothing that really comes to mind. I guess you're pretty right. When I said that, I guess none of the audio design really stood out, or the score really stood out. But I did think it was it was fitting, and I believe I did say that it like worked in well with the film, but it wasn't like a standout side of thing. But I think you're right. I think it was immersive. Like
it's not like Babylon, where I go home and listen to the songs from Babylon, thinking this is a fucking banger. Like, I would never ever chuck on this soundtrack by itself. Like, it's not like Lord of the Rings, Babylon, or Whiplash for me, or even like
Paw Patrol.
Sure, but it's just like, it's so fitting to the actual movie itself. It's just very complimentary of that, and that's why I think the score works so well. But if you have seen it, which I know it's been showing globally at film festivals, not sure when it's hitting Netflix or if it's out in cinemas globally, but if you have seen it, let us know what you think in the comments below. Other than that, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.